Whoever you are out there watching this video, I guarantee there's something in your life that you're trying to learn, something in your life that you're trying to improve at, okay? And I know it's a struggle and I know it's difficult, so I'm going to try to help you find the things that are actually going to make you improve, actually keeping you moving forward within your skills. So let's get into it. Today is about why learning a language, video games, sports, engineering, anything is not about studying, okay? Number one thing I see that people get wrong when they decide to learn something is that they think they need a study plan. They need to actually sit down somewhere with a textbook or with some kind of material, and they need to sit and take notes and study, and that this is going to learn, okay? This brings me to my key points of this video, right? You cannot force your brain to learn something, okay? You're never going to be able to take a piece of information and force your brain to memorize it, right? That's just not how the human brain works, right? And I'm going to explain how to actually learn here in a second. Number two, you can't fake interest in a subject, okay? Before you start learning something, before you decide to spend a ton of time learning something, do you actually enjoy this thing? Are you fundamentally interested in it as a person? Or are you just trying to get somewhere to get some kind of benefit from this skill, okay? If you don't actually enjoy the skill, if you're not actually interested, guess what? You're not gonna learn that much. It seems so obvious, right? But a lot of times, things that are obvious, we need to actually hear them over and over before we actually sink it into our brains. And the reason that I've realized this is because I've tried to learn a wide variety of skills in my time. And the number one thing I keep coming back to is that skills that I actually wasn't fundamentally interested in, I never made any progress and I gave up, okay? So anyways, how do you actually study your skill? How do you start your skill? And how do you actually get results within your skill? Let's get into it. Engagement over studying, okay? Engagement. So it's not actually the studying that causes you to learn, because in the past you probably have sat down and tried to study things and you probably have retained some level of information, okay? But I think there's a fundamental disconnect in how you think that's working versus what's actually happening in your brain, right? So when you sit down to study, right, you look at things and you input in the material, you engage in the material on some level, right? And it's actually that engagement, okay, not the taking the notes, not the sitting there and trying to remember, that causes you to learn. It's the input in the material, the engagement in the material, right? So we need to switch our framework from trying to remember information to engaging deeply in the material, okay? That's where actual learning happens. That's where actual neurological changes in your mind happen, when you're actually deeply engaged in a subject, where you forget how much time is passing and you're able to just sit and really be in the moment with whatever it is you're trying to learn, whether, again, it's a language, a video game, a sport, it doesn't matter what it is. It's not about studying, it's about engaging and inputting in your skill. Okay, so how do we do that? How do we actually engage with our skill properly? Number one, again, being interested in your skill has to be something you're interested in. Number two, actually doing your skill. Okay, so if you're learning a sport, most of your time, guess what, should be playing that sport. If you're trying to improve at a video game, most of your time should be spent actually playing the game, right? Actually in a competitive match, working to improve, okay? Another way you can engage with your skill, right, is by reading about your skill. You don't always have to be doing your skill. You can also just be reading about your skill. Okay, and this works too for engineering as well. I found in my case in engineering, right, it's not all about reading. It's not all about looking at textbooks. It's also about actually trying to solve engineering problems, actually trying to run engineering programs, right? Actually trying to create calculations for whatever engineering it is that you're trying to learn, okay? Another way that you can engage with your skill is passive engagement, right? And what I mean by passive engagement, it means you don't have to be fully 100% focused on your main objective all the time. You can find things that are interesting about your skill and watch interesting content online about your skill. If you're playing a sport, watch professional players play the sport, watch matches. If you're learning a video game, go and watch pro players playing the video game. Go watch funny content about the video game, right? It doesn't always have to be this very directed, engaged focus, which obviously is where the biggest gains come. But sometimes you've got a lot of friction in your brain and you're having a hard time actually sitting down and engaging deeply. Okay, reel it back a bit. Reel it back a bit, okay? Watch something interesting, watch some content surrounding your area that you're trying to learn, right? Again, it's all about engagement. So whatever you do, as long as you're engaging and enjoying what you're doing, you're going to learn. The second you're not engaging and you start trying again to force information, to force yourself to sit down to study, to force yourself to remember, is the second that your progress is going to slow down and you're actually going to stop learning. Okay, so a lot of people think, if I'm going to learn a skill, I need to start at step 1, go to step 2, go to step 3, go to step 4. Unfortunately, learning is a much more messy and complicated process than that. And it all happens in your subconscious mind. It all happens in the black box of your brain. So instead of thinking, I need to master step 1, step 2, step 3, I want you to think, I need to engage with this information. Okay, I need to accept that there's going to be some level of ambiguity, especially when I first start and whenever I'm trying to improve. And I'm not going to understand everything, but I'm going to keep engaging. I'm going to keep searching for new information. I'm going to keep trying to find interesting things within my skill to engage with. Okay, another thing that you can do is trying to, again, make your skill more fun. Okay, and how can we actually make our skill more fun? Well, if you're learning a language, instead of sitting there and inputting using a textbook, okay, go listen to actual content in the language you're trying to learn. Go listen to content made like comprehensible input made for beginners, okay? If you're trying to, again, play a video game or learn a video game more, try something new. If you've been sitting there stuck on one thing forever, do something fun. Try a new build. Try a new character, okay? Keep things entertaining, keep things fresh. Okay, that's how you keep engaging. It's all about engaging. The second you get bored, okay, it doesn't mean you need to push through, right? Boredom is actually a signal from your brain that the content is not exactly relevant to you at this point. The content isn't interesting to you. It's time to find something new. It's time to keep things progressing, okay? Because concepts and skills, they pop up over and over and over again. And people get stuck. They think, again, on step 1, I need to learn everything about step 1 before I can move to step 2. Guys, that's not how learning works. You might get half of step 1, go to step 2, get half of step 2, go to step 3, get half of step 3, and then all of a sudden, content from step 1 becomes the choke point for progression, and it naturally comes back as long as you keep engaging in material regarding your skill, right? So you don't need to learn everything in this very rigid structure. Your brain is going to naturally take everything in over time, okay? As long as you keep engaging, it will happen. And it seems difficult to believe because as humans, we want to think this rigid structure, if I just do this one thing, then I'm definitely going to learn. But unfortunately, it's not quite that simple, okay? What you actually have to do is trust that your subconscious brain is going to pick up on information over time as long as you keep exposing yourself to it, okay? And I'm not saying this because I read a bunch of papers or anything and that this is my theory. This is because I've learned many, many skills, okay, guys? I've learned how to speak Japanese. I've gotten to Grand Champion in Rocket League, Diamond in League of Legends. I was a really good Call of Duty player. I did Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. I got through engineering school, and now I'm working as an engineer in Japan, okay? I also learned to play guitar, and right now, actually behind me, you can't see it, but I'm getting back into piano. So I'm back in a beginner's mindset when it comes to piano, and it's really difficult, okay? It is really difficult, but I'm telling you that this is the common thread over every skill I've actually improved and gotten pretty good at. Anyways, the last thing I want to mention when it comes to learning efficiently is that you need to be in it for the long haul. You need to have a long-term perspective on your skill. I don't want you to start with your skill and be doing 8 hours a day for a week and burn out and never do it again, okay? I want you to be having fun doing your skill, engaged in your skill every day, building up slowly over time, okay? You don't make huge leaps when it comes to learning. It's all about accumulating little small pieces of information, continuing to expose your brain so that it gets that 1% of information every day over and over and over again, right? And when you trust this process and you truly keep engaging and you enjoy your skill, I promise you the results are going to come, and they will come very quickly compared to natural, like normal study methods that people do nowadays, okay? I found myself personally, I'm able to improve very quickly. I'm very open to this study method. I'm very open to ambiguity. And that has been an absolute superpower when it comes to learning more quickly. Okay? Again, it won't happen in a week. Like the build up when you do this kind of method, it takes a little longer because you're not sitting there focused on one thing. You're building this like wide foundational kind of root system because you're engaging in all kinds of different information. And when you give that enough time, you start to pick up information quicker and quicker, almost exponentially pick up information. And that's how you actually, instead of having like this very structured and rigid knowledge within your skill, you develop a very nuanced understanding of your skill. You understand every which way it can go and how everything connects together because you've done this mass input, this mass engagement. Anyways, guys, I think that's going to help you learn your skill more quickly. If you have any questions, please leave it in the comments. I will make a video specifically for you. Okay? Anyways, guys, if you enjoyed this video, please leave a like, subscribe, and have a great day. Thank you so much.